So to pick up, number one is you cannot act as a broker without a license. That's incompetent. You can't operate an unapproved real estate school. Oh, skip that one. No, this is an approved school. My name's on the list. You guys, some of you checked, called me and said, are you an unapproved school? To my knowledge, I don't know any unapproved school that's working, all right? Failing to account for or remit any funds or documents belonging to others that come into your possession. All right, remember the fair housing, and I told you it was an effects law, not an intent law, and I said most rules have an intent, like crime has to have an intent to prove intent. And then the other rule that you guys hear a lot of time is no harm, no foul. That is not the case here either. There does not have to be any harm to your client to actually keep you from being in violation. This rule, letter D, failing to account for or remit any funds. You get an earnest money check, and let's say you lose the earnest money check. Not a big deal, right? Go back to your client and say, hey, I'll pay the stop funds on that one. Just write me another check, and we'll submit it as the earnest money. Good to go, right? That's a violation. You lost a legal document. Nobody got harmed. According to them, that's still not professional of you. I lost the purchase agreement. I can't find it. I didn't remit it to my principal broker. That is a violation. So the old rule of no harm, no foul doesn't hold true here. Okay? Offering or accepting an inducement or rebate for the purpose of obtaining a listing without full written disclosure, letter E. This one is all over the board and it's weird. You are not allowed to give an inducement for a client to work with you. Hey, let me help you buy a house. If I get to be your buyer's agent, I'll buy you a big screen TV when you close. That's a violation. Unless you fully disclose it to everybody in the party, everybody in the transaction. All right? So you should say when you submit the offer, hey, I'm submitting an offer for Billy Joe Jim Bob. Here's our offer, yada, yada, yada. And by the way, I'm going to be buying him a big screen TV when he closes on this deal. And if you don't disclose it, it's a violation. Because the theory is you are cheating another agent out of potential work by me giving a benefit that I'm not disclosing. There are several. There used to be a company here that shall remain nameless that used to advertise all the time, work with me and I'll give you 1% of your buyer's commission back to help buy furniture, things like that. And they put it on the front page of the Realtor magazine and they bought ads and it was their big stick, all right? They are no longer not around. I don't know if it's because of that or what, but they used to freely, openly advertise all the time that they would give back or rebate 1% of the buyer's commission if you use this company. Receiving, accepting, or giving an undisclosed profit in conjunction with a real estate transaction. Undisclosed is the key word here. There have been 2 times in my career where I have literally gotten a bonus from my client for doing such a good job. One was a $200 bonus, one was a $1,000 bonus. The guy thought we did a really good job and he said, hey, I want to give you a bonus. That's not illegal as long as it goes on the closing statement so that my commission to the modular group is 3.5% and a bonus from the client of $1,000. That's fine. What they don't want you to do is go out in the parking lot and get a check from your client. That kind of bonus is illegal, unless it's cash, and that's a whole separate, no. Can't try.
But how would you know, I mean, in those instances, did you know ahead of time that they were going to
I did not know ahead of time. We knew at the closing table because they said that, and I said, hey, we need to change at that time it was the seller's, the HUD, yeah. If they go out after closing and say, hey, come here, I want to talk to you, as they come over there and they write you a check, you should not take that, all right? Or you should do some kind of best work about call me right away and go, hey, or your managing broker, hey, I got a bonus check, what do we do? I'll call the other agent and say, hey, we got a bonus check, but you probably, best bet is to not take it. If they say we're going to give you a bonus, put it on the HUD, It's now called the closing disclosure, and
I would
do it.
imagine it'd be no different if they handed you Kohl's tickets, a wine basket, anything.
Oh, we're going to get right there.
Okay.
Because that's another problem that the commission has, and it's a basket of worms they can't seem to find an answer to, are these closing gifts. There was a guy who was well known in the industry who only dealt with churches. And his running, that's all he used to do, is deal with churches and buying and selling churches. He was well known for tithing 10% of his commission back to the church he dealt with, no matter what denomination. So he wasn't like working for the Baptists and then give it to the Catholics. Whatever church he dealt with is who he gave 10% of his commission back as a tithe. All right? The commission dinged him for that because they were saying, you aren't using it for everybody, you're only doing it for churches and things like that. So he said it's a closing gift, and they said no, it's too much, and he quit doing that, had to quit doing that. All right? Now, there are people now that close and they go and get a bottle of wine or a clothes basket, and that you're going to hear all kinds of stupid rules. Well, it's got to be $25 or less, or it's got to be, there is no rule. There never was a rule that said that. All right? The question was, is wine and stuff fine? Here's how I would look at that. If I was that 12th guy on the commission, I would say, did your gift the sole reason that that client used you? Was it an inducement enough to get them to use you? Which is what the commission said the churches probably were doing. They would seek this guy out because they knew that they were going to get money back from him. So it became an inducement. Whereas if you said, no one's going to use me because I'm given a $5 gift card to buy a $2 million house, I would say that would be okay. If you said, I'm giving a Ferrari when they buy their downtown condo, then yeah, that's an inducement to use you. And to me, that's where that line would be drawn. So I'm not going to tell you that things are right or things are wrong. I would say you should look at it as, are they using you for that sole purpose? You know?
That's if you give them something, but what are they trying to prevent by them giving you something?
It's, once again, the professionalism is you're just not supposed to accept money. You're not supposed to accept money for your broker. First of all, actually, they wouldn't give you money. They'd give me the money, and then I'd split it with you however we had the agreement. So that's one thing. Two is, I guess they assume their professionalism. They want everybody to know in the deal. It's not illegal for you to get money. It's just illegal for you to get money without the other side knowing. And I don't know if that changes the balance or, once again, did they use you or did you do an extra good job for them because you know you were going to get a bonus? I don't know. And I know brokers that have done two different ways. I've known brokers that have, one of my agents got the $200 one. Was really not me, was one of my agents. I gave him 100% of the $200 because I figured the bonus was because he did a good job, not because I did a good job. So I know another agent, Andy, whatever bonuses he gets, he puts it on the split just like the commission. So if an agent does a really good job for him and they get a bonus, he splits the bonus with him. Because his belief is, well, you wouldn't have had that client if it weren't for my license. I mean, you can argue both of those. All right? Letter G, acting in a dual capacity of licensee and undisclosed client in any transaction. Letter G, for those of you at home and those of you here, where the word dual is, I want you to write in the word limited. Limited, L-I-M-I-T-E-D, because we call it limited agency. Dual agency, the professional licensing agent will call it dual because remember they're dealing with all kinds of licensees. In the real estate world, we call it limited agency. Limited agency is where I have the listing for a house and I have the buyer for that same house. I am representing both the seller and the buyer in one deal. That is called limited agency in Indiana. You must disclose that to both parties before you start. And it's so important, we actually have a form called the limited agency form. So when I get the listing and I got a buyer that calls me up and says, hey, I saw your sign in front of the house, can I go, will you show it to me? Yes, I will. Before I show it to them, I got to go to the seller and go, hey, do you mind if I bring a buyer in? And they sign that form. I then take that form to the buyer and go, hey, you know that that's my listing. Is it okay with you? Sign this form, then I can show you the property. If neither one wants to sign the form, they don't have to, then you cannot be that agent. You must have permission in writing from both parties before you start if you are going to work as a limited agent. All right? If you fail to disclose that, that's a violation. If you just show the buyer through and didn't tell the seller that you were the one showing the buyer, the seller may have problems with that. Hey, I told you some stuff I didn't want you to say. You might have said. Now I'm at an unfair disadvantage. Letter H, guaranteeing, stop right there. That's a violation. You can't guarantee anything. Anybody in the financial industry knows you can't do this. Stockbrokers, insurance agents, financial money managers. You cannot say, buy this house today, and I guarantee in 3 years when we sell it, you'll make a profit. Can't guarantee future profits. Letter I, you cannot offer property on any other terms than you are given guidance to by your client. So if my client wants to sell his house, I cannot market it for rent because he didn't say that. He said for sale. I cannot market it as a land contract or a lease option. I must market it for sale. Now, that does not preclude another person from writing an offer different than what I've got listed. That's not a violation. If I offer this house for sale and Singh has a client that says, hey, I got a short-term rental guy that wants to be right in that neighborhood. Can he rent it for a year? And you send me over an offer to rent? That's fine. I can't stop whatever you write. I just can't market it different than my client told me to. All right? Letter J. Letter J is what I call the punch in the nose letter. Letter J says you can't induce a party to a listing contract or a purchase agreement to breach a contract to substitute plus tax. Got it? Actually, letter J is not, letter K is the punch in the nose. Letter J says this: if you're under contract and you get another deal, you can't kill that contract just to get to that deal. All right? We've got this happening right now with one of my agents. We are on the wrong side of this. The builder is wanting to kill the contract just because he wants to because someone else has offered him more money. Too bad. We're under contract. All right? You cannot kill a contract just to get to a better deal. Not illegally kill a contract.
I'm sorry, what's the builder? What's the issue?
We went under contract with this builder for a certain price.
Okay.
It was a model home. Now someone else has walked in and said, we'll give you a bigger price. So he called us and said, I'll give you your earnest money back. I want out of the contract so he can go to this other. And we're like, no, my client wants this. This is the neighborhood his family in. You are under contract. You will sell to my client. You cannot kill a contract just to get to a bigger contract.
And that builder has to disclose to you why they want to end the deal.
Yeah, when they sign the mutual release, they can't just say we want a release. They could, but then we're going to come back and go, why? Because there's no reason why. We've already got the financing. I mean, we're 7 days from closing.
If they don't tell you, it's not much change.
Yeah. I would guess.
It says they're accepting backup offers. Is that because the first contract is not closed, is not been signed?
I'm trying to figure out where you say it says they're backup offers.
It's not. I just
Okay.
read that. Sorry.
All right, say it again.
Because I've seen on properties before, it'll say like not, pending or
Yeah.
contingency.
Active with a contingency.
But it'll say.
We hate that.
Yeah, but it'll say, accept.
Now tacking backup offers. Yeah.
Yeah, so does that mean, that sounds like that would be.
No, because that's not an offer. It's an offer. It's not an agreement yet. We can't accept it.
No contract.
It's not a contract.
Okay,
It's an offer.
okay. So they just have like one offer and they say, hey, before we accept this one, we're gonna accept other offers?
All right, back up. You need to know the difference on the words offer and contract, because an offer is something you give me. If I've not accepted it yet, it's not a contract. I can only be under contract with one person. I can have many offers, and I could tell you, hey, we've got your offer. We will hold your offer, because if he's not going to buy, then we will go under contract with you. But I can't go under contract with both of you. So I've only got one contract that I'm active contingency. I don't think his client's going to get financing, so I'm going to keep your offer right here on my desk as the backup in case he fails. Then we'll come to you, and then you and I will go into contract, and we'll go from there.
All
All right?
right. So the backup offer just sits there if
Right.
it doesn't work out.
So what I can't do, what this is saying is, suppose his contract to me is $100,000. Your contract's 120. I cannot kill his offer just to get to yours. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. I cannot kill his contract just to get to your offer because I like your number better or your deal better. Unless there's some legal reason that he and I, like he misses the date, or he can't get funding, or the inspection he wants to argue over, or things like that. But I can't just come up like this buyer's trying to do to us and go, hey, we're done with you. We're going to go to that one. All right? Yes?
So, if there are other contracts or offers sitting there on the desk, and they're all different, there's a higher one that came in, last out of the three, the next day perhaps, is there any, can you just take the highest?
At that point, yeah, because they're not contracts. If I've gotten 5 offers and hers came in at 2 and hers came in at 4, but I like hers better, it doesn't mean, just because hers came in first doesn't mean she's first in the last. Hers is a better offer, even though hers came in last.
Them knowing who offers what?
No. You will see that will become the bane of your existence, because now the running thing is this thing called highest and best, and you never know if someone's pulling a shady wool over your eyes. I had a deal several years ago with a guy in here that will remain not in here, a guy in the city, and the house had sat on the market for 370 days. I called and made an offer, me personally. He called me back and said, we've got multiple offers. I need your highest and best. I said, that's friggin' amazing. 370 days on the market, and someone made an offer within 10 minutes of me making an offer. I said, I was kind of new at the time. I'm like, I want proof there's another offer. He's like, oh, I can't do that. Well, how do I know you're being honest? And his words to me were, trust me, I'm a professional. And amazingly, we won that deal. My brother and I won that deal. It's like the other offer maybe didn't exist. Who knows?